Hello, everyone. I wanted to record another December turn, or I guess turns in this case. We're going to have the 14th and the 15th back to back. So I wanted to show you, again, go back in time and show you some of that. Looks like some unloading there in the Dutch East Indies. The I-155 is out here trying to hunt something. I'm honestly not remembering what we have out here. Ooh, taking on some water. We got one decent hit into there. A little bit more damage. A lot of this looks like some glancing blows, though. Nothing doing extensive damage, it looks like. Okay, so 4 hits, but probably moderate to light. And the S-36 decides to go after an patrol boat. Well, I should say, decides to launch 2 torpedoes. It may have been hoping it was a cargo ship. The I-19 is off Pearl Harbor, trying some shenanigans. They don't launch. We don't launch depth charges. The I-19 apparently wants to get. We spotted it twice, but didn't spot it. I don't know if. Okay. I guess it is what it is. And here's the I-171. It looks like the same 2 destroyers spotting it, but then not doing anything with their information. Okay. Well, it looks like 3 destroyers there. Well, at least 3. Alright, so the Dutch sub K-17 is here in the Gulf of Siam, and yeah, we don't get anything off. It'd be nice to fire some torpedoes into that thing, the Suzuya. Since this is kind of more or less a prequel, I believe that's the cruiser we're seeing in a couple months, 3 months from now, in the South Pacific. Anyway, moving on. Alright, the I-25 is here, also trying to terrorize Pearl, and we got a couple of destroyer, these are destroyer mine layers, and apparently we're not getting any action there either. Okay, and the I-171. Okay. Look, 6 destroyers, and 4 of them tried to get in over him, but they eventually give up the search. I-19 actually gets a couple of torpedoes off. Crosby was in the crosshairs, and they're retaliating for themselves. Near misses, which are only rattling. Now the Talbot is in on the action. Okay. We saw a few rattles happen there, but nothing more than that. Look at, we actually are escorting a cruiser here. Oh, so I know what this is. This is the Saratoga coming into Pearl, and we don't see it on this list. Well, so the way I look at this is, we know it's the Saratoga, but the Japanese player, he just sees some destroyers and a cruiser. Now, his guess is probably there's a carrier here, or we're shuffling a cruiser in or out. I have no idea what my opponent looks at this and thinks. But yeah, we're able to get past the I-19 there. Okay, now we have 20 bomber raid and night bombing, 17% moonlight, bombing Singapore. Let's see the results, which looks like nothing. Okay. Um, by the way, I just realized this is the second week of the war, so things are already juicy and hot. Okay, well, I guess they're juicy and hot on turn one, where day one with the bombing of Pearl Harbor. But anyway, okay, the Schley is already out of ammo, and it's still trying to do something, and it's right over top, but it's just unlucky enough to not have any depth charges to fire anymore, so we can't take advantage of the spot we were in. Okay. This is a lot of the early part of the war. He's strangling Pearl, and there's a lot of AS sub and ASW sub and anti-sub action here. The Seal, a nice juicy cargo ship, completely misses, and we'll see what we get in return. Again, these are the upgraded depth charges that can go into the deep water. So we are not safe down there. But in this case we were, but you never know. Okay, the I-7 actually gets one into the destroyer minesweeper long, and yeah, that doesn't bode well. These subs, I have not tallied the percentage, but I think they've been highly successful hitting our ASW assets up here. Maybe not like 1 in 10. I don't even know the number. Again, I haven't crunched the numbers, nor will I, or nor do I intend to. But he has gotten torpedoes into a few of our ASW assets in this area as well as abroad. I think in the South Pacific as well. And here's just one of them. And one torpedo will sink all of these smaller ASW vessels. The I-6 is here, also the same location it looks like, and see what we can do to it. Okay, nothing. Now it shows the long heavy fires, heavy damage still. It hasn't sunk. It has not sunk yet. But there's no way it's gonna survive. Okay. Kind of a face-off here. Nobody does anything though. Okay, here's the long, and I guess this is our answer to why it doesn't. It actually does get a second torpedo into it, and the Chandler still is unable to do anything about it. And there we have it. The I-153 active here in Java Sea gets some torpedoes into this poor light cargo ship. Two sub torpedoes into light cargo. That spells SINK. The permit, we just had a Japanese torpedo sink our light cargo ship, and then the permit comes on the scene and anticlimactically fires a dud and misses. Probably 4 torpedoes total, actually several more. And then here we go. Just while I was saying that, we got a torpedo that actually worked into the side of the what is this? Daijukyu Maru, one torpedo heavy damage. We tried to get some shell hits into it, but we didn't actually hit. We took a shell hit, what was it, 88 millimeter? Anyway, we took a shell hit on our sub. One torpedo into a full-size cargo ship may not be enough to sink it, so I'm not going to count that sunk unless we get confirmation from the Japanese, which they're tight-lipped about those kind of things. All right, but we do have ASW aircraft. Their rate of what's the word? Success is not much better than it's probably not any better than our ASW ships, but we still have them working because they can spot them, and also who knows, maybe they can get a nice bomb into one of them too. We'll find out, and so far no reports of hits this time. Okay, we've got a sweep over Clark Field by 20 zeros, but we don't have anything flying at this time. And then a raid now over Manila. An escorted one, just because you never know what we might have flying. But 28 bombers, and he's really beating up our runway and damaging aircraft, and I think I saw some destroyed as well, damaged planes. Let's just keep it happen here. Looks like 5 damaged Catalinas and 1 damaged B-18. Well, no, this is, I think, what is this, Beach 18? But I'm trying to remember what well, anyway, Beach 18, whatever that is. Right off the top of my head, and it's been a while since I've used these aircraft. Let's see. And then, of course, beat up the base. So let's keep follow up. Now, it's possible this was a 29 aircraft sweep, but 20 got in and then 9 separate. And then a decent rate of 39 air bombers over Clark. We still have some aircraft at Clark, so he's able to damage some fighters sitting on the ground, and our airbase takes some significant hits. And Betty's with no cap, these Betties come in unescorted and have no difficulty, and damage some more of our aircraft, as well as a couple of casualties and more hits to the field. Some Nels. Yeah, let's just, okay. Don't need to comment about every detail, but you can kind of see the results. These are just constant raids that are going to happen for the first few weeks of the war. That's just what we're expecting. We will contest when we can, and we will not contest when we really shouldn't. Okay, and then here's some bombing at Hong Kong. Looks like over 50, well, yeah, over 50 bombers. Now, most of them are the light variety. And some hits to the base. Okay. His goal is to really pin us down and keep us from upgrading our fortifications, as well as beating up our supply and other things. Okay. And he's being successful at it as well. Now we have a silly, I say silly, ill-advised bombing of Kota Baru, because he's got 19 nates flying as cap. So nates aren't the best fighters he has. However, when you're unescorted, any fighter is extremely dangerous. Let's push through this. 14 of our Blenheims actually survived, and we're able to hit the runway. I mean, I don't know. When you're attacked by fighters, I think your accuracy suffers, so we're not able to be as successful as if it was no cap. And you can see here one runway. So it was definitely not worth spending the aircraft like we did there. All right, a sweep that happened after the air raid, um, coming in a little late. Okay, we just heard a sinking sound. I think that's that cargo ship we torpedoed. The Mark 14 actually working. Okay, and we have Japanese subs again being bombed here by Pearl. One of them was reported hit. We'll believe it, like I say, we'll believe it when we see it because, you know, some of these guys are a little gung ho about reporting their hits, and um, yeah, what are you gonna do about this? Well, I say that. That's probably a raid that he was sending in to bomb before we attacked, and he just forgot to call it off. That's just a hunch. But but then we're doing our own bombing raid, unescorted, with some nates flying cap just north of Hankow, and yeah, these SB-3s aren't the best bombers, most durable. Okay, and some Claudes are here, uh, intercepting B-17s. I can't remember what we're bombing here. I'll push through here in a second, but these Claudes are not necessarily designed to shoot down heavy bombers. So let's take a look. Nine of our, I believe it was 9 bombers to begin with, and we actually hit something in port here. Kind of moved really fast. Okay, so this destroyer was hit and it's on fire. Now, chances are he'll, especially since it's parked here, he'll be able to repair it or whatever and get it out of there. We also get 2 hits on the port itself. Um, yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it, but now I'm looking at it and thinking, you know, it's a shame we couldn't actually sink that destroyer. Well, we do get 3 more bombers in, so let's see how this goes. Okay, these are probably also bombing the port, but they whiffed. Okay. It looks like that's it for air phase. All right. He's dropping troops here at the northern tip of Borneo. There's a deliberate attack here east of Changsha. We're retreating. Yeah, we retreat southwest. Yeah, this was okay. I mean, we took a lot more casualties than I would like in a battle like that, where we're in good terrain. We actually have decent leaders, so I'm not real happy with the results. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just saying these are not the kind of losses you want to absorb. Yeah, moving on. So up here in the north, we got a small core that's pretty weak and beat up right here. And it looks like it's going to get shredded, so let's see. Okay, we retreat directly west. Okay. Taking, you know, serious casualties and inflicting not very many. Okay, again, this road he's trying to push down, and this is a follow-up attack as he keeps working down the road. Let's see how this goes. Okay, we're retreating. Yep, staying on the road. And heavy casualties. Look at this. 4,000 troops lost, and you know, see that 319 destroyed squads. That's I don't know what, 2 month, 1 or 2 months worth of squads there. Non-combat support squads, most like engineers. Yeah, and look, they're all destroyed, zero disabled, and very light casualties inflicted on him. Okay, Hong Kong holding out, and he's opted to bombard again. Keep softening it up. One disabled squad there. And here's the Luganville capture. Again, you know, if you watch the last, well, December 13, 12 and 13, he landed here before we could just, like, I want to say 1 to 2 turns before we would have gotten there. And so he beats us to the punch and easily takes an undefended Luganville. So we took Aichang a couple of days ago, and we've increased fortifications. And as I've stated before, these fortifications to get to 1 is somewhat easy and quick. Higher than that takes, of course, increasingly longer each step. But yeah, getting to level 1, 1 is better than 0, so we'll take all the 1s and hopefully keep working up to 2, 3, 4, etc. And we'll be jumping to December 15 here when this wraps up. Okay, got some reinforcements here, including the heavy cruiser Australia. It's a nice boat, nice ship, and some other assets there on the west coast. All right, let's take a look at December 15. Hey, yeah, welcome back already. We're looking at December 15, 1941. Still upset about that situation there at Luganville. All right. Again, the theme of the early part of the war is a lot of sub and anti-sub action right here at Pearl. And we're seeing some more again here. It looks like we're retaliating there against the I-17 before it got to shoot, or it chose not to, but we didn't get any depth charges. We didn't hit, there we go. Here's a Dutch sub. Those are the only successful subs we're having so far. Maybe some of our S-boats have done something, but certainly I don't know how many S-boats we have in this area. I think they're mostly up here by Luzon. But this Dutch sub gets 2 torpedoes. Actually, both torpedoes hit, explode, deal heavy damage. That should sink. There at the Gulf of Siam. Here, speaking of S-boats, we got S-boats here in the Picador, but you know, nothing doing there. I don't know if we decided. It doesn't say the commander decided not to fire, so we'll just say they saw the patrol boat, decided discretion was the better part of valor, went below and ran away, slunk away. The skipjack gets spotted before it can do anything, and the Hatakaze looks like it's trying to get a piece of it. So let's see. Right now we're below the level of the depth charge explosion, so we get away without any damage. And here's again, Mark 14, torpedoes hit, okay? But we decide to surface and shoot with our deck gun, and why not fire some more torpedoes? I don't know if I guess we're going to use up our whole lot of torpedoes. Wow. But we do have a 4-inch gun on the deck, and we're able to do some damage to the cargo ship. 2 shell hits. Apparently there are troops on board. Now, the only thing I can think is we damaged this ship, and it may or may not continue on its way, but this certainly will not sink this ship. The SEAL opts to fire at destroyer minesweeper, similar to the Japanese. We're not nearly as successful. I can't say for sure, just by looks alone. That looks like a smaller boat than our destroyer minesweepers. Not that that could make a difference, but just saying. I know our subs aren't as successful as aren't as trained or as successful. Again, more night bombing there at Singapore. The only obvious results. There's a Farragut. That's a different story. Okay. The snapper is also taking the approach of doing a surface action because their torpedoes aren't doing anything. But this carries a 3-inch gun, and it's doing some damage to the, what is that? The Samui Maru? Samui Maru? You know, it's hitting, so that there's something. All right, well, we used up our ammo and go below. We did take 1 hit. I must have missed the caliber that the cargo ship was firing back with. Some more unloading there, northern tip of Borneo. Okay, we got some naval reaction, which includes us trying to chase down his subs. Okay, the I-171 is attempting to sink our destroyers, at least targeted one of them. The Chu didn't get any depth charges off. The I-7 gets spotted. Let's see if we can do something there. Come on. Nope, it's not. Okay, now it's the I-17. All right, but this one we do launch some depth charges. Let's see what we can do here. All right, this is the first time that I can remember seeing one of our depth charges exploding above his depth. In any case, we don't hit. Okay. Now we got patrol boats in this vicinity west of Formosa. Okay. Now this is one of our light cargo ships. I couldn't tell you what it's doing here. It could be coming from Sarawak. It could be anyway, or it could be heading there to supply it. But the I-156 decides to tear it apart. 4 shell hits and 2 torpedo hits. Yeah, that didn't have a chance. Okay, the trout. Whenever we have this, I like the juxtaposition between how effective the Japanese subs are and the American subs. We do get a torpedo hit into the cargo ship north of, in this area, but north of Hokkaido. It's on fire heavy damage. That might mean it'll sink, but these are bigger and can usually take the hits better. We'll see. All right, again, Dutch sub, and this is a very rare time where we have a Dutch dud. Right, but we get to have another chance at it, and we get one into it, another dud. Okay, but actually a second torpedo as well. What's that, a third one? And then 8 centimeter deck gun, 4 centimeter, I don't know. But 2 shell hits. I think there's 2 guns on this sub. One is like the main deck gun, and one is maybe anti-aircraft. I think we got the 2 shell hits was one, and the other, and then 3 torpedo hits. I don't think that one stands a chance. Yeah, there he goes. All right, we are in the air phase, of course, and it looks like the spotters are taking their turn flying around looking for things particularly in the water. And then now we are doing our sweeps. Now, I'm flying Warhawks today. We're gonna see what we can do, and well, not very much. These are zeros, well trained, and it's not gonna turn out well for us. You could see some red there. We shot some down, and if you look here, 3 to 4. Now this may be higher, and this certainly may be higher, but but the goal is to do some attrition to his fighters, which also means pilots. Were we successful here? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know how much to conserve of these fighters. That I'm gonna briefly just say, I don't want to disband these or withdraw them or whatever without doing something, nor do I want to keep them parked on the runway and just get destroyed by bombing. So my hope is to rest them every so often, which of course hopefully makes them more effective, and then fly and shoot down as many enemy aircraft as possible to at least make it worth having them in these bases here, instead of just let them be VP numbers for him to destroy on the ground. All right, now here we're able to catch escorted bombers, which is better than just flying against a regular sweep. So maybe we can do some damage to his bombers. Let's push through this and take a look. Nope. It looks like all we did was counter his zeros, and not very well either. Okay, according to the numbers here, again, not saying this is true. I don't know the situation. Here's 1 0 destroyed, could be more. Supposedly no Allied losses, although we do take damage to the runway. And now he's doing a follow-up sweep, although again, this just is another element that finally came in later. And our Warhawks are already pretty beat up, so let's... he went from 9 to 8, so I don't know. Maybe we damaged, shot it down, ops loss, we'll see. Alright, follow-up raid over Clark. This is 24 Bettys. And he damages on the ground a P-35, and we lose a few casualties of troops on the ground, and 47 bombers follow up again at Clark. It's wrecking the base. Okay, now this is actually okay. Clear sky, that always is good for the bomber. 1 destroyed recon, I believe that's a recon plane, the 047A. Lose a few ground casualties and 19 runway hits. Now this late delayed sweep, and we have 1 lone P-40. Now let's see how long it lasts. Nope, not very. Okay. And moving on. All right, 46 bombers hitting Hong Kong. 8 hits to the base. I Chang, I guess that wasn't an accident because we got I Chang still being bombed. Actually, this looks like, well, it is. I mean, it always has been. Ground troops being attacked, but heavy rain helps us, I guess. All right, a follow-up raid at Hong Kong. These again, though, are the lighter bombers. Let's see what he does. We actually destroy one by flak, do some damage, and he does a little bit of damage to the base. And some IDAs, follow-up raid. Pardon me. All right, and the sweep over Manila comes up empty because we've already been well swept from the sky. All right, I'm hearing a sinking sound. Not 100% sure which one that one is. Could be one of the cargo ships that only took a torpedo and wasn't sure if it was going to last or not. And we're bombing subs again, but no effect. All right, the I-165 here. Well, is this John? No, that okay. Anyway, we got the I-165 here east of Sumatra, messing with our stuff. And he's evading us successfully. And by the way, trust me, if you watch the campaign, at least up until what I've uploaded, you'll see that no ASWS is safe. If he's firing at a destroyer, minesweeper, anything, I'm nervous, or even a Corvette. I'm extremely nervous the whole time because his luck has gotten him several successes there. No maneuverable, small, speedy ship is safe. Alright. Here's Alor Star. Looks like he probably brought troops into Singora or had them there, and now he's coming down this road. He kicks us out. These tanks, you're not gonna be able to hold with small units like that against tanks. He does have fatigue, but we get no damage into him. Take some decent casualties, 337, and retreat. About the only thing we did there was slow him up because he had to stop and attack. Alright, bombardment at Hong Kong. That's 2 days at least. My recollection of December 13 is bad, but that's at least 2 days straight. He's simply bombarded. But in this case, he got into the troops pretty good. Alright, now he's attacking this base, Kudat. So let's continue here. Alright, success. He captures. Anyways, we had nothing there. Alright, here's some expansions of bases. Nothing key here. Some of these are back. Bases in the rear, as it were. We want to upgrade as much as we can, even fortifications in rear bases, because his goal may be to eventually get it all the way into there. So we have to be ready. and that's why we're upgrading those. But otherwise, it's nothing extremely impressive that's happening. And I'm going to be brief, but I'll do a quick recap and after action report. But I'm going to be brief here because I've already got almost 40 minutes into this video. All right, this is what we were talking about before. Low garrison. Yeah, that was just partly rookie mistake, partly just mental mental error. Let's see. All right, let's take a look at this. Okay, you can clearly see these stacks and stacks of submarines strangling Pearl Harbor. Currently, he has at least 2 subs in each hex all the way around. This is very daunting and intimidating, but we gotta move stuff. We gotta move ships. We gotta move things. You'll see here we disbanded at this as of this time anyway. We disbanded the Saratoga. Just keep it keep the damage to 0 as often as we can so that we don't lose. I don't want to have it stack up and then be take weeks to fix. Let's do it when it's just a few days at a time. That's my thought there. Let's take a look quickly at air losses. This last turn was the one with the most air to air. I mean, more than I should say the 14th. So the 15th was more active. That's why I'm looking at it. Well, one reason. And you can see here the trade was pretty good. 7 to 7 air to air losses. So it makes you feel like maybe it's worth flying cap against some of those 0 sweeps. 2 destroyed on the field, and again, we want to minimize that or make it 0 if we can, but minimize that by actually flying and fighting. I'd prefer 7 to 7 than 2 to 0, right? So we'll take this. And then 1 destroyed by flak. And then if you look at ops losses and you combine it all, we lost 13 and he lost 14. So this is quote I'll say quote unquote good turn, okay? And when you consider aircraft loss points 211 to 100, anytime it can be 1 to 1, it's a good day. This is back when the Army loss points were actually not bad. That changes quite quickly here, of course, because this is early part of the war. He's still got to force a lot of surrenders, capture a lot of stuff. And then here we're in a really heavy at least 4 to 1 ratio. But that and again, that's not going to last either. But let's take a look at the aircraft losses and see the detail. See, look at this: 9 zeros, 6 air to air, and we saw 7. We saw he lost 7 air to air. I don't see the other one though. But here's what I think happened. It's one of these ops. Okay, I think it's I think it's considered shot down because as it landed, the damage we inflicted on it was such that it could be counted as an air-to-air loss. In any case, other than the pilots becoming aces, I don't really care that it's air-to-air or ops. But also air-to-air means we have a higher chance of making them having a pilot MIA or KIA. The ops, they could somehow rescue the pilot. That's the only positive to being air to air versus ops. All right, but clearly we lost 7 Warhawks. But still, 6 to 7, that's a good trade for Warhawks to zeros. And he lost 2 Nels to ops. We lost 1 each of our P40s. Let's see. And then he lost Elf, and then we lost these 2, a Dutch B-10 and a DC-2 transport plane. This is probably transporting over the hump there, Lado to Yun, I believe. Okay, again, not bad. Okay, let's take a look at ship sunk and see what was actually reported, okay? Now, this Chitose looks like it was hit by a mine. Spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you because I don't know if we come across it later. This gets reported to us as having been reported in error. I'm telling you that now because as cool as this is to have show sunk, it may have taken some serious damage, but it does survive. The I-169, spoiler alert, also survived. Now, near Johnston Island, it says it took a depth charge into the teeth, and maybe it did, but it survived. The rest of these I can't speak for, but this, what I mean is, I'm just gonna assume they're sunk. So a couple of cargo vessels and our destroyer. This was actually hit on day one. This was hit on the bombing of Pearl Harbor. It had way too many fires, and the fires never got put out, and it sank finally. What 8 days later. That's crazy. But that's how long the fires lasted. The EPO, or however it's pronounced, very light 1 point cargo vessel. It got sunk by a torpedo there north of, yeah, actually, okay, we'll say northwest of Borneo, between that and Singapore. Anyway, so that's the report on the vessels sunk. Really, there's not much to talk about specifically in this at this time. We can take a quick look and see if there's anything that stands out as menacing. Well, first we know the hotspots seem to be right now. The reason I picked ships is I wanted to point out some things if I saw them. Okay, so we know he took Luganville. Okay. And we're parked here with, look at all that. But he literally dropped these guys and bolted, right? So he didn't even stick around to pick them up again or unload more stuff. And we're sitting here to sink his ships when they come back. And uh, yeah, nothing comes of that. But as I pan up, you can see he's already worked his way down into the Solomons at Shortlands so far. He's taken all of this northern New Guinea. Yeah, he's been very active um, in the far reaches and farther reaching than historical. But then, we got invasions up here, invasions northern Luzon, southern Luzon. That's about it so far. There's no the hotspots are the bombings up here. Hong Kong, he's bombarding and bombing, and then otherwise it looks like he's just shuffling troops trying to get positioned. Again, these are getting beat up from lack of garrison because because I chose incorrectly what to do with these three bases. This one survived this last time, and I don't react to this for some time. But we'll see. You'll see how it goes. And then other than that, he's pushing us down this road, and it looks like that's about it. I choose he doesn't kick me out. I choose to withdraw from here and start heading up, and these guys are going to leave too, and eventually take up positions further up the road. But that's what's happening in the north. Other than that, that kind of covers what's going on. I know I covered it very quickly. And by the way, what we bombed here, we hit that port. He had his mini KBs was somewhere up here, I believe, because that's where the clods came from. Anyway, so that's kind of a quick recap of December 14 and 15. Um, and as you can, and I'll just promise I'll be quick. You can see this is our what do I say? Our convoy that came from Canton Island that was going to land troops here, but came here instead. And these troops will come to here, set up a base. And as far as I know, all of these troops are still in Noumea, even maybe, but certainly on the island of New Caledonia. Um, that is, if you've seen the videos that I've uploaded so far through what is it, March 10th, you'll know that you'll know the situation here in the South Pacific. I won't say any more. If you haven't watched those, go ahead. And I'll keep uploading these December turns as well. You don't have to watch them if you've already watched through what I guess again February, March. You don't have to. This is really A for myself, and B for those who are interested in seeing how the days and weeks and months played out before my first upload, which was actually February 1. But I hope it's enlightening, interesting, I certainly entertaining in the sense that you could probably spot so many errors and mistakes. By the way, check this out. This is a unit that I brought from Eastern Australia. It's going to come here and set up a base at Efate, and that becomes, well, again, for those who know the situation down here as of March 10, these guys are also still here. Anyway, enough about that. I just thought it was cool that we were able to get in here. And yeah, it gets tense here because he's got a base with zero air capacity, but still, this can be built up strongly even. And so this feels very intimidating and concerning because he can start flying aircraft and whatnot. So this is certainly, to me, priority number one to counter. Anyway, that is back in the mid-December. That's going to be my focal point. All right. Well, I will see you guys next time, um, yeah, for December purposes, we'll be covering next time December 16 and 17. And appreciate you watching with me. And again, any feedback, pointing out all of my multiple errors. And if you have questions about any parts, I can jump around and come back and maybe answer or even do a video where I describe certain things as needed. But again, this is past. It's not really too important to go over the detail, but I'm certainly happy to answer if you have questions. But anyway, take care. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.